I'm going to explain about the project creating a centralized Syslog server. About Syslog, it is Unix based and Syslog is networkable. And a Syslog service it is used to send system logs or event messages to a specific server. These servers are primarily used to collect various device logs from different machines to a centralized location for the monitoring and review purposes. Most network equipment like router switches can send syslog messages. And this diagram explains the working of a syslog server. As we can see, the network devices which sends syslog messages to the syslog server. Syslog servers in turn send these alerts to the administrators. Administrators check for the syslog messages and they'll use it for the troubleshooting and the monitoring purposes. And the components of the syslog server, there are actually three main components. A syslog listener. A syslog server needs to receive messages sent over the network. A listener process gathers syslog data sent over UDP port 5 and 4. And the second part is database. Since a large number of networks can gather a huge amount of data of syslog data, a good syslog server will use a database to store syslog data for quick retrieval. And the third part is management and filtering software. Because of the potential for large amount of data, it can be hard to find specific log entry when needed. The solution is to use a syslog server that both automates part of the work and makes it easy to filter and view important log messages. And in order to complete the process, we have to start with the installing the syslog server. It goes through the following. Screenshot explains the commands that needs to be used over there, and we have to update the repository. And the next big step would be updating the OS to the current state. It can be achieved with the following set of commands. Now install the syslog ng. It might remove klogd, but this is normal. And the following commands shows how it can be done. Reconfiguring syslog ng. Configuration depends on network environment like Windows hosts, Cisco devices, Linux hosts, and other devices and gear. As we start with the global, these are the set of commands that needs to be performed in order to achieve the desired state of the output. And the next we move on to the source. As we can see, the following pseudocode explains it. And Windows filter, Cisco filter, general filter. These are the three main steps, and they need to be configured very carefully with the following set of commands. And the destination, as we know, the destinations would be FIFO buffers. FIFO stands for first in first out, and we have three parts in the FIFO like Windows first in first out, Cisco first in first out, and the general first in first out. And we have another one large file to it can be used as a destination. And in order to get the desired output, we have to make sure of two things like making the first in first out buffers and creating the directory structure, which we did in the earlier slides. And the final step would be restarting the syslog ng, and the following sudo command helps achieve that. And now we are using Splunk to achieve the same output. Since Splunk is a web-based interface, it indexes arbitrary data. It is searchable and good for reporting. Now we have to install the Splunk. Download the latest version of Splunk. Now we have to extract the tarball. Run the application for being installed. After being installed, make it start up with the system boot, which is necessary for the next steps. And the installing steps will go through the following sudo commands. Now after that, we have to configure the Splunk, which we can see here. These are the next steps of configuring the Splunk. And syslog agents. Here the syslog agents would be Windows agent, Unix agents on the other devices. And conclusion would be a centralized syslog server is achieved by the after following the above mentioned procedures we can achieve the centralized syslog server. But Splunk, which is a web-based interface, in my experience Splunk is much convenient way to build a centralized syslog server. Thank you.